Out of the 170 companies listed on the floor of the NGX, 27 of those companies account for 90% of the total market capitalization, meaning that 90% of 68 trillion naira is being controlled by 27 companies. Pay attention to the volume. One of the most important things to look out for before investing in any shares, you're trying to buy stocks from the Nigerian stocks market, from the NGX in general. Before investing in any shares in the Nigerian equities market, that's the NGX, pay attention to the volumes. And what do I mean by paying attention to the volume? Have you ever gone to a particular shop and you ask the woman, "Madam, do you have this?" And she says, "I don't have it because they don't buy it. Anytime I buy it, it spends like 3 months in my store before I end up selling just one unit of that particular item." The reason why she doesn't buy it is not because she can't afford it. She can actually afford it, but it's because of cash flow. She doesn't want a particular product to stay in the shelf for so long that it holds on to her money. She doesn't want it to affect her capital. Similar thing happens in the stock market. When you're trying to buy a particular company or shares, make sure you pay attention to the volumes. When you're trying to do your research, pay attention to the volumes. And I'm saying this because the total market cap of the NGX, that's the Nigerian equities market, that's our own stock market, is 68 trillion naira. It hovers around 68, 69, 67 trillion naira. That's the total market cap of the Nigerian stocks market. The NGX, that's the Nigerian stocks market, comprises of 170 companies listed on the floor of the NGX. Now, out of the 170 companies listed on the floor of the NGX, 27 of those companies account for 90% of the total market capitalization, meaning that 90% of 68 trillion naira is being controlled by 27 companies. So think about that. 27 companies. And that's why you need to pay attention before investing in any company. Let's take a look at the liquidity of some of the top 5 companies. Airtel, which is one of the most capitalized companies on the NGX, to a daily volume of more than 4 billion naira. 4 billion naira daily volume. Now think about that. 4 billion naira. The financial institutions, many of the financial institutions, financial services, it accounts for 10 trillion naira out of the 68 trillion naira market capitalization. Now, all this gives you an idea when I'm talking about volumes. So you need to pay attention to the volumes, not just the name of the company, not just the price of the unit share, but the volumes of shares traded. The reason why you need to pay attention to the volumes is that at some point, if you need to sell your shares, you're not going to be looking for buyers. It's just like the woman I was talking about. If she buys a product that people hardly buys, if she buys it in a shop, it's going to stay there for a long time before she gets someone who's going to come and request for that particular product. And so she would rather not buy it because that is going to tie down her money. It's going to tie her capital because she needs cash flow. It's a cash flow driven business. The same thing with your shares. The same thing with investing in the stocks market. You need to pay attention to the volume. And this is also why the banks, the financial institutions, and financial services literally control the NGX. Out of 11 billion naira daily trade, the banks account 4 billion out of the 11 billion naira daily trade. That tells you that the financial services has a lot of volumes. A lot of investors are always interested in investing in financial services. Lots of volumes. So you want to place your trade or perhaps invest in companies that have a lot of trade volumes so that when you need to sell off or when you need to buy, you're not looking for buyers and then you're not left cash trapped. So this is what we mean when we say do your own research. Doing your research means that you pay attention to the volumes and not just the price per unit share. Make sure you do due diligence when you're doing your research. Invest wisely. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.